How you doing, guys? Today I am going to talk about my 1959 RJ. I was perusing through YouTube and there was a very recent video of an individual who was just asking to kind of clarify what he had. And what he had was basically a 1959 RJ with a 60 Suburban hood on it. So when you say a 1959 RJ, what does that particularly mean? If you're familiar with RJs, the RJ with the 3-speed transmission came out in 1958. And there were, at the very beginning of the 58 year, there was a lot of crossover between the discontinued RJ35s. That's what this one is. This is actually a 57 RJ. And I could talk you into tears about the RJ35s, as you know. But as 1960 approached, Wheelhorse was making that transition to the Suburban model, which came out in 1960. So it's really unknown how many 59s, let's call it, were made. There was no particular big difference between the 58 model and the 59 model. They all had the RJ, classic RJ hood. The name was on there. The decals you're seeing on the side of the hood, that was the style RJ decal that was on the 58 and the 59s. The 57s actually got that style RJ. So it was so there's definitely a difference. You know, they went from right away Junior on the side of the hood to Wheelhorse. And actually in 55 and in 56 they had this particular decal, which is just a Wheelhorse decal, South Bend, Indiana. This particular tractor has its original decal still on it. I just clear coated over them to save them, but that is the original style. So they went from, in 55 and 56, they went to that decal, or they used this decal. And then in 57, they transitioned to that decal. And then in 58 and 59, they used this decal. I don't want to go through all the differences between the RJs because that's not what this video is about. Essentially, what makes this a 59? So let's start off with number one. We have to take a look at the tranny case, which I'm going to try to show you here. I don't know if I'll be able to, which is right to the, oops, let's turn that around so we can see it. All right, where are we? Let's see here. Well, actually, you could see it better upside down. Okay, so it's upside down. So basically what you see here is you see an E, a 2, and then if we can, I apologize, there's a 9. You can't really see it. But the E stands for the month. E is the fifth letter, so that's May. The 2 stands for the day, so that's the 2nd. And the 9, which you can't really see, is the year of production, which is 59. So this case was made in May 2nd, 1959. So that's one indicator that this could be or is a 1959. Additionally, what we look at is like the seat. That seat is a later RJ seat. Come on, we need to focus here. There we go. That is a later model seat, which was the Suburban style. So that's correct for a 59. Obviously it has a plastic wheel. That's standard for 58s and 59s. We also have a set of Suburban style front rims with the Suburban style tires. And those are original. So that tells us that it's a 59. As well as the numbers on my Clinton motor is later in production. The other thing we have, which we can barely see, is this tractor has a Suburban style rear hitch. So that lends me to believe that it's later in production. The toolbox and the fender pans by this time were more standard items than optional, because they were options on 58s and then early 59s. This one does have a tag on it, but it's not the original tag. It's just a reproduction tag. So that's how we can tell that this one is a 59 or a later production RJ. They still had 612 rims, standard 3-speed, nothing different. The hoods were just the same, nothing different into that. They could have come with the B1290, which this one has, or a K90 or a K91, because Kohler at the time was still making that transition from the K90 to the K91. So these tractors with a Clinton engine, or excuse me, with a Kohler engine, could have been either way. As you approach the 1960 model, the actual transition to the Suburban, that's when the Clinton engines become more rare, or rarer, if there's a better term. They basically all had, the Suburbans basically had all Kohlers going forward. One interesting story, how did I acquire this tractor? A friend of mine asked me to go pick up, I believe it was a sickle bar. I don't remember. It was some parts, some RJ parts, or some wheel horse parts in Guilford, Connecticut. So I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I went down there and I met up with the person and I got the parts, paid the person for the parts. And then they were like, hey, by the way, I have this. And that tractor was sitting there. And I was like looking at it going, you got to be kidding me. Bought it from the original owner. They had a set of gang reels for it that they would mow the lawn with. You know, they would pull the gang reels with this tractor. And when I got it, it really did show that it was used. You know, the transmission was worn out. So what I've done to the tractor since I purchased it, and I purchased it 10, 12 years ago, I did powder coat the wheels, the correct cream color, as well as the seat. I used some Miller tire paint on the tires, blacked them out. The transmission has completely been rebuilt from bearings, bushings, seals, the whole 9 yards. I did have to replace the steering shaft. It was really kind of weird. It was really worn out. I don't know how the hell that could be, but it was. So I just got a piece of 3/4 inch bar stock and then cut it and drilled it appropriately and then just Rudy metal primered it in place. That is the original steering wheel that went with the tractor. It's original paint. I probably could just wet sand and buff it, but I kind of like it in this dry state. The gas tank is absolutely gorgeous. The motor runs really, really well, and I still have the original LMG carburetor on it. The motor does smoke a touch if you run it or idle it for a long period of time, so it's time for it to be rebuilt. I actually have every single part for the motor NOS downstairs, from the piston to the camshaft to the lifters to the valves, the keepers, the springs. I mean, I even have an NOS crankshaft for this motor. It was my plan to pull the motor, bore it 10, put the new piston, everything all there, and then just put it all back together just the way you see it, all kind of sweaty and old, wearing its work clothes, if you want to call it. But I just haven't gotten to the project yet. I did add a front mount sickle bar to the tractor. I think it kind of goes along with the look. The pedals, the footrests, I should say, are like 61-ish. They're the straight style, so if I remember correctly, those are actually pretty rare. They angled the footrests after making these, so they're probably like a 60-ish, 61. I'm not completely sure. It's not that originally on this tractor. I didn't add them, but they didn't come with this RJ when it was originally bought. Those were added on over the years by the previous owner. They look the part. They're cool. I'm just leaving. I always left them on, and I have no plans on really taking them off. I'm just going to leave it there. Transmission shifts silky smooth. It does have the original belt guard on it, which I will get over to. It has the original belt guard. It's all in place. Original throttle. I mean, this is pretty much a completely original machine. The hood is amazing. Absolutely no dips. The tank straps are in place. It does have a couple light little cracks. Let me get out of the light here. Right here, very typical for RJs of this vintage. I have absolutely no plans on messing with it. I haven't started it up in probably 5 years. It's probably been about 5 seasons since this thing has been started. As you can see, it's pretty much a dust collector right now. Maybe next year I'll pull it out and start it up. There's videos on my channel of this thing running. So if you don't believe that it runs, just I'll just add a link to to that video in my description. All right, guys, we're going old school, going back to my roots. All right, thank you very much. If you have any questions in reference to RJs of this vintage, by all means, just post a comment below. If you like this video, please thumbs up it so that way it gets a little bit more notoriety. And if you haven't subscribed and you like wheel horse tractors, small engine rebuilds, transmission rebuilds, custom projects, and soon to come, a wheel horse senior project, please subscribe. All right, you guys have a real nice day. Bye.